Good afternoon and welcome to New in Box engine video number 9. Today's engine is another classic engine from OS, and it is one of the FP series engines. This particular engine was introduced to the market in 1984, and it is the 20FP. Now, I picked this up on eBay, as most of the engines I buy are from eBay. I don't recall off the top of my head what this cost, but I believe it was maybe under $100. New in box, as far as I can tell from what I looked inside the contents. And the 20FP, as I said, dates back to 1984. Now, how old this particular engine is, I'm not sure, but hopefully the instruction or the marketing literature will help us understand that. So we've got our standard, OS would use this standard tissue paper quite often. Now, this was something, when I was getting into the hobby in the early or late 80s, early 90s and stuff, I don't ever remember buying a 20FP. This came to me just like this, pre-assembled with the exhaust already on there in the bag. Now, it fits in there. Whether that's how OS shipped them or not, I'm not sure, but it could be. Let me take the rest of the contents out of this and show you this beautiful little 20FP engine. And I believe that this is also one of the FPs that it may never have been ABN. It may have always been a cast iron piston and steel sleeve. But a comment from my FP series engine led me to know that I didn't know before, that when you see the casting, this bump on the casting like that, that tends to mean, or that means that that's a cast iron piston steel sleeve engine. So I don't know. I haven't really had too many 20FPs in my possession, maybe one or two, this being maybe the second one. To me, it looks like it's a brand new engine. No glow plug, and yet you can still hear some suction there. So let's look here. Simple, one tool, doesn't surprise me. That looks proper. Let's see what's in the instructions here. We got our standard sheet of decals, our template, engine mounting template, the OS warnings, and then we've got the instructions. So the instructions here are going to be important because the 20 and the 35 FP all came out before the 40 FP. So if you don't see the 40 FP on here, which we don't, because I've seen other FP series engines, and it'll show each engine on the instruction manual that is available at the time of printing that instruction manual. So this tells me that this is a very early engine. Since there's not a 40 FP on here, and I believe, if memory serves me, the 40 FP came out in 1988. So that means 88, 87, somewhere around there, and this came out in 82. That means that this particular engine is exactly between 1982 and 1988. So it's an early vintage engine because, as I said, other manuals that had, when the whole series was out, they would show pictures of all the engines there. So that's interesting. This is an old engine. It's a very old engine, which is cool. So now, knowing that, we don't even really need to look for validation from the marketing literature, because we already know that this engine is pre-1988 at least. It's still fun to look at this stuff, though. Let's look at the 4-strokes that were available. The 240, FT 160, 120 Gemini, the pre-Surpass engine. In fact, there are no Surpass engines on this literature at all. So that means, when did the Surpass series come out? Late 80s also. So that means, it's just more validation that this is an older engine. So that is the latest New in Box engine video series. Now, will I run this engine? Good question. It won't take much fuel. It won't take any time at all to break in, because there's really not a whole hell of a lot of break in. Even though it's a cast iron piston, I think you can pretty much start running these pretty good right away. Will I run it? Only time will tell, but I hope you enjoyed watching.